softness of your skin, taking me somewhere I've never been, gone to windy moon. I've spent all my life out on these black floodplains. I've wandered these paddocks alone, with the moon on my shoulder, silent old friend. I lived in a world of my own. There's a new light in my life, and I can't help this feeling inside. It's just me and you, and the gone to windy moon. All at once the world is standing still, with the moonlight in your hair, and the softness of your skin, taking me somewhere I've never been, gone to windy moon. Change with a kiss, just me and you, and the gone to windy moon. All at once the world is standing still, with the moonlight in your hair, and the softness of your skin, taking me somewhere I've never been, gone to windy moon, gone to windy moon. And she looks a little like Faith Hill, turning heads down at the roadhouse when she's working the grill. You'd expect she'd be the only one, but there's plenty more like her out there where she comes from. Well, there's got to be something in the water, there's got to be something in the atmosphere out here. Every good-looking daughter would make you swear there's something in the water. Oh. Now she's got some little cousins and they live out on the 5-mile plain. Yes, they got the family likeness, they really drive the boys insane. Watch them rope, see them ride when they turn the mob and watch the red dust fly. Yeah, there's got to be something in the water, there's got to be something in the atmosphere out here. Every good-looking daughter would make you swear there's something in the water. See those girls walking down the street, or at the swimming hole. something in the water. There's got to be something in the atmosphere. There's got to be something in the water. There's got to be something in the atmosphere. Out here, every good-looking daughter make you swear there's something in the water. Something in the water. Something in the water.
Well, I don't have as many friends because I'm not as pretty as I was. I've kicked myself at times because I've lied. So I will have to learn to stand my ground. I tell them I won't be around. I move on over to your town and hide. And you be the captain and I'll be no one. And you can carry me away if you want to. And you can lay low just like your father. And if I tread upon your feet, you just say so. 'Cause you're the captain, I am no one. I tend to feel as though I owe one to you. To you. Well, I have handed all my efforts in, searched here for my second wind. Is there somewhere here to let me in? I asked. So I slammed the doors, they slammed at me. I found the place I'm meant to be. I figured out my destiny at last. And you be the captain, and I'll be no one. And you can carry me away if you want to. And you can lay low just like your father. And if I tread upon your feet, you just say so. 'Cause you're the captain, I am no one. I tend to feel as though I owe one to you. To you. Did I forget to thank you for the ride? I hadn't tried. I tend to run away.
Hey, true blue, don't say you've gone. Say you've knocked off for a smoke out, and you'll be back later on. Hey, true blue, hey, true blue, give it to me straight, face to face. Are you really disappearing? Just another dying race. Hey, true blue, true blue, is it me and you? Is it mom and dad? Is it a cockatoo? Is it standing by your mate when he's in a fight, or just Vegemite. True blue, I'm asking you, hey true blue, can you bear the load? Will you tie it up with wire just to keep the show on the road? Hey true blue, hey true blue, now be fair dinkum, is your heart still there? If they sell us out like sponge cake, do you really care? Hey true blue, true blue, is it me and you? Is it mom and dad? Is it a cockatoo? Is it standing by your mate when she's in a fight, or just Vegemite? True blue, I'm asking you.
Good afternoon to you all, ladies and gentlemen, and a big welcome as we meet to honour the life of Mr. Stanley William Brett. My name is Dudley Corbett, and I am indeed honoured to be invited to lead today's farewell for Stan and to join with you in expressing our thanks for his life, to say goodbye to him and to support each other in the loss of a much-loved man. Stan would not have wanted you to be sad, but for each of you to smile and to remember the great times which you shared together. And there would have been plenty of those. The family have also asked me to thank you for this wonderful attendance here today, to assure you of the great comfort it gives them to know that Stan was so loved and so respected. Please feel free to continue in sharing in this time of remembrance over some light refreshments back here in the chapel at the close of our graveside service today. We also would like to welcome our viewers from live stream today and hope the reception is coming through well. There are a few people, of course, who can't be with you today, but no doubt, even though they're not with you physically, they are with you all in spirit, and they share your sorrow today. At the graveside, a little bit later on, there will be a guard of honour from the fire brigade that Stan was so heavily involved with for many years, and also we do have a piper, Mr. John Hammond, who will be playing the bagpipes in farewell of his good friend and neighbour. So thank you, John, and thank you to the fire brigade there. I sat with family members the other day and I learned a few things about Stan. In fact, I probably knew Stan before some of the family members did. So I went to school with him. Yeah, at little old Penguin State School. Yeah, but anyway, that's a year or two ago. I can't just remember how long. But son Shane has given me some information to share with you, and then after I do that, Shane himself will be coming forward to eulogise his dad. But a few things here that you should probably know. Dad was the second born in the second family, and the only male in that part of the family, along with 7 sisters. He has 2 children from his first marriage and 2 from the second. 10 grandchildren, 1 stepdaughter, 3 great-grandchildren, 2 step-grandchildren. I'll go through that a little bit later on at the bottom so I don't miss anybody. Stanley William Brett was born on the 19th of the 3rd, 1943. That was a good year to be born, at the Ulverston Hospital. And we think it might have been something called Restore. Now, I don't know, somebody here today might recall what the name of the establishment was there. He went home to North Motton and he was baptised on the 31st of July 1955 at St Stephen's Church in Penguin. His father, Charles William Brett, fathered 19 children in total. Sorry for laughing, but I know what's coming next. We always remember Donna's mum saying that there was 11 in the first family and 8 in the second. She always said that they could never take her dad to the show because he would buck and rear like an old bull when he got near the ladies' pavilion. You know now why I laughed. And further to that, that's not on here, it's something I'm going to add. One day he took the whole 19 children to the Burnie show. Hired a bus, probably. And there was an Australasian champion bull there, one of the highlights of the draw cards at the show. You had to pay so much to go in and see this famous bull. So he fronted up to the bloke on the ticket counter and he said, "Look, I've got my 19 children here." He said, "Could we all get in for a bit of a discount, seeing there's so many?" And the bloke said, "19 kids?" He said, "Yes." He said, "You stay right there, mate." He said, "I'll go and get the bull and bring him out to have a look at you." Yeah. As I said, I just added that, so as I do. Yeah, so as I said earlier, I did go to school briefly at Penguin with Stan, and I've known him all through the years. I've known a lot of family members throughout the years, and I see quite a few here today too that I haven't seen for a while. So welcome aboard to everyone. Really, it's probably a family reunion in lots of ways, and you'll be able to tell a few stories to each other around the teapot and the coffee pot a little bit later on today. But right now, someone who knew Stan not as early as I did, but certainly much better, I would say, and I'd like now to call on son Shane to come forward and to tell us a story or two about Dad. Thank you, Shane.
Thank you. Well, Dad would be quite amazed at how many's come in here today. So I'd just like to introduce Dad's family, and this is only part of it. If so, anyone who's family of Dad, if you'd just like to stand up so we get a bit of an idea of how many's in here. And we've got another row just back here as well as just, and he knew each and every one of them personally. So. We all know my dad was a very placid and compliant man. He would not intentionally upset anybody at all, and if he did, he'd be devastated. But according to my aunties, he was not always like that. As a young fella, he was a bit wild and very stubborn. Apparently, he was very reluctant to go to school, and his mum had to follow him down the big long driveway with a stick most mornings to get him to get on the bus even. So, while he was growing up, he did a lot of ferreting around the nearby farms, and he had a black ferret that took quite a bit of looking after. He also helped work around the properties that they lived on, and as they moved around the districts at Sulphur Creek, they were on Barwick's property, and I think to pay the rent there they used to have to chip the thistles and take the ferns and that out. So Dad and his dad was part of making that all happen. Not sure how old he was, but Dad talked of his first camping trip where they went to Baker's Beach at the park. His dad got the cattle truck, set it up with a heap of wooden crates put in it, put mattresses in there, put a bedding in there, and then pulled the tarp over the top. So they stayed like that for a couple of nights. Dad lived a hard-working life and had a couple of near-death experiences along the way. One was when he was gored by a bull at around 15 years of age. But even after that, I think he still had a ripped shirt on, and he still wanted to go out with his mates, but his mum put a stop to it. Now, not many of you believe that Dad was so placid, but in the early days he was part of a group that was known as the Burnie Boys, and they were quite territorial towards Devonport, and apparently the rival was over the ladies. That's a whole different story, but that might have been even when Dad had his car accident around that time, which he could have ended up much worse than what he did. When he left school, he worked for a short time at the Burnie paper makers and also on the Burnie Council on a backhoe. And I quite often remember Dad, as I was coming through Burnie, pointing across the hills and saying that he remembers when all that area was just farmland. And quite a bit of it he actually helped do some of the drainage and that. He married my mum, Valerie Smith/Billett, on the 28th of October 1961. They lived and worked at Highclere for Merv Jubb for a few years, doing general farm work. They had 2 children, my sister Susan, who was born in 64, and of course I was born in 66. Later we moved to Miyuna for a short time, working on a dairy farm, and then moved from there to Preolina. Also working on a dairy farm, but he was growing potatoes and a few other crops. We had the Golden Fleece Agency for quite a few years, where he delivered fuel to the wharves and most of the districts in and around that area of the coast. He worked in his spare time for several farmers. Dad was one of the fastest potato pickers in the area. When he'd finished picking the bags of potatoes, he could sow them. And when you had to sow a bag of potatoes up, you had to get the corners all nice and square and all the bits. Well, Dad could sow them 3 to 1 to nearly anybody else. He was strong like a bull. I don't know how heavy the bags of potatoes were, but they were flaming heavy. He could actually pick them up and throw them up on a loaded truck. And if he needed to, he could do that for hours. Sometimes he'd come home completely exhausted, but never complained. He was a great fencer, done a lot of fencing around the property that we was on and for quite a few others in Preolina as well. Dad could dig 2 post holes to my 1. He was just like a machine. Incredible worker. For many years, our neighbour Doug Byard, he used to go down into the bush and they'd cut wood and they'd cut truckloads of wood and then sell them for a bit of extra money around the district. Dad drove trucks, carting potatoes and general stuff for different places all over the coast. He did a few seasons on the poppies and also carted corn from the northern parts of Tassie back to McCain's. He lived in Preolina for about 17 years and he was much needed and loved part of the community, being involved in the fire service as well as just a local community. Dad was the go-to guy. If he was ever stuck and needed a hand, as busy as he always was, he could find the time to help someone in need. After my mum left, he later met Leanne. She was a local girl that he met at one of the old-time dances. I won't go into it here, but let's just say back in the day I spotted his car quite a few times up the forestry plantation. And also on several occasions when I was up the forestry there, was having a few beers or whatever with some of the mates, we'd go and light a fire, and of course whose car would turn up, it'd be Dad's. And he'd sit around like one of the guys having a few beers with us, and then of course he'd want to drag me back to Preelenna. He only had a Holden though, so mostly I beat him. This was a place that I actually got to know Dad. That he was not only my dad, he was a great mate. And not just a mate, he was a reliable and very special guy that never, if you turned to him, that he'd turn you away. Over the course of time, Dad and Leanne got married, and in 1987, and they moved to Hellier Beach, having 2 children. I think it was 89, I think he's moved to Hellier Beach. And the first was Ian in 1988 and Mel in 1990. Mel was the difficult one, of course. Always kept him on his toes. Must be something about the second born. He then worked for about 10 years for Robin French. They got on really well, stirring each other almost every day. And there's lots of stories that you could add in that area as well, because he enjoyed that time with Robin. As Dad got older and sick of farming, he then left and started working for McCain's, where he was doing several different jobs. This was much easier on his body as well. He worked there till he officially retired when he was about 71, but not for Dad. He still had to keep doing something, so till he was about 77 he worked driving tractors around different farms. One of the jobs he was doing was when they finished harvesting the bulbs and the tulips, you got to lift the bulbs out of the ground, so that was one of the jobs he had. He also worked for a couple of other farmers driving the tractor while they collect the broccoli and the cauliflower. He got quite special treatment there. I think even the guys used to start the tractor and warm it up for him before he even got there. Until one day Ian come there to drive the same tractor and it wasn't even started or warm. So a bit of special treatment he got. Dad started playing indoor bowls when he was back in 1989 for the Rocky Cape Social Club. Now, didn't we stir him about that? There was many a joke about carpet burns on your balls, but he always had quite a smart answer to come back at us with. Dad really enjoyed his bowling and the social side as well, mixing with a great group of people that he admired. He continued to play even earlier this year. Dad spent many years with the Preelenna Fire Service and then on to the Hellier Brigade. For many of these years he was a fire chief, being involved in many fires and road accidents. In 2018-19 he was awarded with the Volunteer Award and was officially recognised for his 50 years in the fire service. There is a beautiful picture here today of Dad that was taken in the Advocate for one of the dangerous out-of-control fires that was in the area at the time. We all got a copy of it, and I'm sure we've all got it somewhere in a prominent place, but Dad had to tell us that the soot on his face was actually wiped on there to make the photo look more dramatic. So of course we had to stir him about that as well, but it looks bloody good. My dad. Lee Kernaghan sang a song, Southern Sons, and we'll probably hear it somewhere here today. I won't sing it for you, just because. Normally we would. But around the campfire at Peg's Beach, Ian and myself soon modified that song to Stan Brett's Son. And every time it come on and said on the Southern Sun, we'd sing, "We're Stan Brett's sons, and we're proud to be ones." Dad said, "You silly buggers," but just quietly he loved it. Dad to me was everything. He was my fishing mate, camping mate, woodcutting mate, worked alongside me and helped me establish my business. We went forward driving together. We even worked at the nursing home with me on a few occasions. And of course I had to torment him about that. I said it was hard to pick him out from the rest of the residents. And obviously he'd obviously say piss off and have a laugh. If ever I was in trouble as a kid, hang on, that should say when I was in trouble as a kid, my mum, God rest her soul, would always say, "You wait till your dad gets home." Well, for me it was like, because I knew Dad was the soft touch, and if he ever had to discipline me, he was normally in tears before I was. Mum soon picked up on that and had to do it herself. On our camping trips, we had lots of camping trips over the years to different places. We'd always keep busy, but at the end of the day, we'd have a cook-up, sit by the fire, play some music, and just talk about life's problems. I'm not sure we ever solved many of them, but we tried. But on the fishing trips, we was always trying to out-catch each other. And we usually would take a special different lure each time we went. And of course I'd always say that they were Dad's people catchers. But he'd always prove me wrong. One day he pulled out this thing out of a packet, and it was like, when he untangled it, it took him about 30 minutes. It was about 4 foot long, and it had hooks and bloody bits and pieces hanging off it here, there and everywhere. Well, he called it his cowbell. So anyway, after about 30 minutes mucking around, putting the thing together, he sticks it in the water, and we're dragging it behind us, and I don't know, 40 minutes or so later, lo and behold, he got a strike. Well, you should have seen him, he was ecstatic. So he brings it in, and I've got to say the fish would have been the most unconditioned, ugliest fish that we'd probably ever seen. And it was just like, I actually said to him, I said, "Dad, I think that fish has just suicided. It's just like seeing that thing and thought, here's my way out." Anyway, we got it in, and of course to him, he caught one, so he was happy. And of course it made that big of a tangle getting the thing in that he never used it again, threw it back in the box. But even recently he still reminded me of the cowbell. How I'm sure it's still in his tackle box now. Dad was an avid Saints fan, and he loved the Saints, followed them all his life, and was quite parochial when it come to winning or coming close. And we had a fishing trip one night. It was a Friday night, and we were sleeping on the boat. So we had a cook up, went to bed, and listened to the radio. So anyway, I'm on one bunk, Dad's on the other, and because out come the Saints. They come out and they were fighting like you would not believe. They were just like a storm. Anyway, it gets to half time, and I'm like, the game's over sort of thing. And then I heard Dad snoring, and I thought, we still had a couple of days left on the boat, so I thought, right. So the next morning he gets up and said, "Who win?" And I said, "Oh, the Bombers did." He said, "You should have seen it at the last quarter. They come back and it was only like a 6-point win." And he's like, he didn't believe me, but he did. But he didn't believe me till he got home, and then of course he had to ring me and tell me, "You little shit." It's good times. Dad was a family man. He was there with each and every one of us, always kind and gentle with an ear to listen. He gave good advice, and I've got to say, a lot of times we needed it. The most placid man I ever known, heart as big as a tree, kind and giving, a great mentor and a pillar of support. He would have spoken more kind words to everyone who knew him than ever bad words. He was a gentle giant. Dad was always a giver of his time. Always had an ear to listen to anyone in need. I'm positive most here can relate to this. He was never selfish. He was a great husband and a truly amazing father. Dad, no one will ever fill the position that you held in my life. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah. That was well done, Shane. Stan would have been proud of that, as indeed everybody here today is very proud of it all. I have, just before I read this tribute that I have here, I'll just go through the progeny again, the children and so forth. 10 grandchildren, 2 step-granddaughters, 2 step-grandsons, 3 great-grandchildren and 2 step-grandchildren. So the name Brett will be, I would think, around with us for many years to come. I have a lovely note of tribute here and I'll read it as it is. It starts like this. Years ago we moved Auntie and Uncle from Priolina to Sisters Creek. Uncle Stan had grapes growing at his back door. So the turd that I was, I ate them. He came home from work and asked me, who ate my grapes? And I replied, not me. And he said, I will find out who ate them. And a few hours later, I had a touch of the Jimmy Brits. a little while went by and Uncle Stan said, now I know who ate my grapes. I still denied eating them, but obviously he knew. P.S. I'm sorry, Uncle Stan, about your grapes. You're still Stan the man. And that comes from Des Sheriff. Good on you, Des. Thank you for that. Yeah. I think there will be grapes on the table a little bit later on at refreshment. I hope they don't upset you. Yeah, let's move on. We are now about to go back in Stan's life for a little time per virtue of some very treasured family photographs and listen to some of Stan's favourite music in the background. So let's go back in time.
Been a year since I'd been home, so Dad and I took a drive around the farm. We cut some burrs till Smoko made a fire and sat down and had a yarn. Looking back down the years, I'm right there by his side. It was gold, a moment my heart will hold. It might take a little time to see it shine. It was gold. We hit 3 bad seasons and I told her I'm finally giving up. She held me in the darkness, she wept and whispered, don't give up. Though the years roll on, I still recall how she believed in me. It was gold, heart will hold. It might take a little time to see it shine. It the power to move me on and keep me strong. Gold, a moment my heart will hold. It might take a little time to see it shine. Gold, the moment my heart will hold. It might take a little time to see it shine. It was gold. Oh, it was gold.
Looking forward, looking back, I've come a long way down the track, got a long way left to go, making songs from what I know, making sense of what I've seen. All the love we've had between you and I along the track, looking forward, looking back. There are strange days full of change on the way, but we'll be fine. Unlike some, I'll be leaning forward to see what's coming, looking forward, looking back. I've come a long way down the track, got a long way left to go, making songs from what I know. If I'm alone at night, I can see through all triviality of the day, and I'm okay. I just think of those who are dear to me, looking forward, looking back. I've come a long way down the track, got a long way left to go, making songs from what I know, making songs from what I know, looking forward, looking back.
Thank you for sharing those treasured memories with us. So sweet is the sunshine that follows the rain, and so is the peace that follows the pain. Softly the leaves of memory fall, gently we gather and treasure them all. Today, tomorrow, our whole lives through. Our dear friend Stan, we will not forget you. We're just about to come to the end of our chapel service today, my friends, and I'll just repeat that there will be a guard of honour from the fire brigade at the graveside, and also Stan's good mate John playing the bagpipes as well. And then you're all invited back here for refreshments. I think Stan would have said, "Remember me with a smile. Now my life on earth is done. My dreams have all been fulfilled and a new life has begun. Remember me with a smile when grief may cause you to weep. One day we will all laugh again when our next meeting we keep. Let's be thankful we shared good times. Keep the memories warm for a while. Let them bring peace to your hearts. And remember me with a smile." Could I now invite you to stand, please, ladies and gentlemen, as we commence to take Stan on his final journey.
When I get where I'm going, on the far side of the sky, the first thing that I'm gonna do is spread my wings and fly. I'm gonna land beside a lion and run my fingers through his mane, or I might find out what it's like to ride a drop of rain. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years, and I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. I'm gonna walk with my granddaddy, and he'll match me step for step, and I'll tell him how I've missed him every minute since he left. And then I'll hug his neck. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years, and I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. With so much pain and so much darkness in this world we stumble through, all these questions I can't answer, and so much work to do. But when I get where I'm going, and I see my Maker's face, I'll stand forever in the light of His amazing grace. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will love and have no Yeah, when I get where I'm
going. 200 years ago they came in ships with words of loathing hanging off their lips, passed out from the country of their birth, transported here to the end of the earth. Their natural lives here under southern skies. I'm a southern son, I'm proud to be one, working in the heat till the day gets done. I was born to this land, and I'll make my stand. It's in my blood. Oh, I'm a southern son. They pushed the rail across the great divide, and in this arid land they lived and died. Settlers followed to the great unknown. Their children called this southern land their home. Dreams were won and lost under the Southern Cross. I'm a southern son, I'm proud to be one, working in the heat till the day gets done. I was born to this land, and I'll make my stand. It's in my blood. Oh, I'm a southern son. To the desert sands, we hold the future in our own hands. We'll right the wrongs in the land of the free. We'll be the masters of our destiny. Freedom for every man here in the southern land. I'm a southern son, I'm proud to be one, working in the heat till the day is done. I was born to this land, and I'll make my stand. It's in my blood. Oh, I'm a southern son, I'm proud to be one, burning in the heat till the day is done. I was born to this land, and I'll make my stand. It's in my blood.